She was at the sink with her phone propped against a mug when I asked if she wanted to go out Friday. Not fancy, just a decent place by the river. A table I knew we could get without waiting. I said it straight, no speeches. She didn't look up. I'm busy. With what? I leaned on the counter, trying to keep it light. Don't start, Lauren tossed back. I'm exhausted. And restaurants are loud. If you want noise, go with your guys. Lauren, you've been a ghost in our own house for weeks. She turned, folded her arms. So? Not everything is about you. Also, I need you to handle the new mattress this week. The guest room one. I'm not sleeping on that lumpy mess if I ever need to crash there. That's the third upgrade this month. It's called Standards. Try them. She grabbed her phone and slid past me, leaving a citrus smell and a door that didn't quite click. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have eaten in silence and saved the surprise for later. Instead, I stood there with a plan for a simple Friday and a wife who'd just filed me under background noise. I took a plate from the dishwasher and set it down without silverware. The sink dripped. It felt like a metronome counting out the seconds from normal to whatever this was. The next morning I tried again, because that's who I am. She sat at the dining table going through online orders like it was a 12-hour shift. I put coffee in front of her. Thanks, she murmured, eyes on the screen. Lauren, what's going on with us? She tapped something, then sighed. Dawn, please. Not before I get through this. I need a few things for the house. And I'm moving my spa appointment up. How much is a few? She finally looked at me. I don't nickel and dime myself. I like comfort. You should like me comfortable. I like you present. She gave a thin smile that didn't reach anywhere. You get so dramatic. It's not that deep. It's exactly that simple, I said. You've been distant, short with me, and every conversation ends with me paying for something. You're the one who wants everything calm, she said, pushing her hair back. Calm requires investment. Then here's mine. I pulled up the budgeting app on my phone and set it on the table, screen toward her. Starting today, we separate discretionary spending. Joint bills are covered. You handle your extras. I'll handle mine. Her eyebrows arched. Cute. It's basic. And we'll alternate big purchases. If you want the guest mattress, fine. I'll pick the next non-essential. Non-essential. She laughed once. Comfort is essential. Respect is, I said. This is me drawing a line. She tilted her head like she was humoring a client. You know what? Do your little system. I'll work around it. You can work however you want. But I'm done being an ATM with a pulse. That's insulting, she said calmly. You're making money shaming my standards. Call it what you want. She stood, grabbed her coffee, and walked away. I'm going out tonight, by the way. With who? Friends, she said over her shoulder. You wouldn't know them. That Friday I got home to an empty house and a note on the fridge that said, don't wait up. At midnight she texted, running late. Lock up. The message didn't ask how I was or mention anything about us. It read like a post-it to a roommate. In the morning she was asleep on the couch in the guest room. New bedding lay folded on the chair, tags still attached. She didn't wake when I walked past. I went to the garage and stood beside the toolbox until the noise in my head cooled. I don't beg. I don't chase. I adjust. At noon she drifted into the kitchen, hair tied, wearing a hoodie that wasn't mine. She opened the fridge, regarded the leftovers like they'd offended her, and closed it. You're quiet, she said. I'm focused, I replied. I moved dinner with the Taylors. We're not going. You canceled? She blinked. We had that for weeks. It's not working for me right now. New rule. I'm done doing smiling couple tours when we're not speaking at home. That's petty. It's adult. Two different things. I set my mug in the sink. Also, we'll be sleeping in separate rooms until we figure this out. Since when do you decide what I do in my house? It's our house, I corrected, and I'm deciding what I allow myself to participate in. She narrowed her eyes. I'm going out later. Have fun, I said, and turned on the faucet. That night, she left at 7. Texted at 1. Home late. It became a rhythm. Daytime requests for purchases, evening exits, returns after midnight with the energy of someone who'd eaten well and laughed at something funny that had nothing to do with me. I kept my voice even and my calendar tighter. I took on a larger project at the office to fill the nights she vacated. 2 weeks in, I tried the soft approach once because I wanted to say I did. Saturday morning, I moved the small table to the deck, made pancakes, strawberries in a bowl, music low. When Lauren came out, I pointed at the chair. She didn't sit. What's this? Breakfast. Just us. Dawn, she said, gentle like I was a kid with a fort made of pillows. That's sweet, but I'm heading out. I have a nail slot. I told you. You never told me. I'm telling you now. Can you move the car? I need the driveway clear. I looked at the plates. I'm trying here. And I'm maintaining myself, she said. Different projects. Eat a pancake. She glanced over the fruit, then set her phone on the table without sitting. We need different things. That's not a crime. No, but it's a choice. Right now, I'm choosing not to have this conversation. She grabbed her phone. Thanks for the thought. She was gone before the butter softened. I stood there with 2 plates and a reminder that effort without respect is performance art. That afternoon, I called Dalton, a private investigator a friend from the gym recommended years ago when he needed to track down a tenant who skipped town. I never thought I'd use the number. I didn't give Dalton drama. I gave him dates, Lauren's schedule swings, the time she started not waiting up. He listened and didn't ask for reasons. Men like him don't need them. Patterns tell their own story. Keep it clean, I told him. That's the only way I work, he replied. Sunday night, Lauren returned again at 1, set her keys down too carefully, and tiptoed like a considerate stranger. Monday, I moved my work bag into the truck at 6 and left before sunrise. At the office, Nate, my project lead, leaned over our shared table. You good? He asked, tapping the schedule. I'm right where I should be, I said. Also, I'm shifting my hours. Early in, early out. Don't hold a seat for me in late meetings unless it's mandatory. New routine. New rules, I said, marking it on the board. I'm not hanging around waiting for someone else's time. He nodded. Nate doesn't pry. He keeps score by deliverables. I delivered. Midweek, Lauren floated a smile my way over stew I'd made. She rarely noticed my cooking anymore, but that night she dipped a spoon and gave me a look. This is good, she said. You used to do that rosemary thing. I wiped my hands. Still do. I've been stretched, she added, eyes softening in a way I hadn't seen in weeks. Sorry if I've been short. All right, I said. I picked up your jacket from the cleaners, she offered, like a small olive branch. Hung it in the closet. Thanks. She sat, actually sat, and for 10 minutes it almost felt like a house again. She asked about my project. I gave her a succinct update. She made a small joke about my old habit of double-checking locks. I let it land without a smile. I wanted to believe the thaw. I also know theater when I see stage lights. The next day, a delivery arrived. A new set of linen for our bed and a memory foam topper. Lauren sent a photo to the group chat with her friend Emily and a couple of others. Captioned, finally upgrading this place. She looked radiant in the mirror. She slid into the frame, like someone proud of a remodel they did on credit. That night, she drifted into my doorway. You moving back to our room? She asked, leaning on the frame. No, I said. Space is working. She nodded like I'd confirmed her hypothesis. Suit yourself. Friday, the backyard barbecue at our neighbor Hank's place had been on the calendar for a month. I almost canceled, but it counted as neutral territory, and I wanted witnesses. You learn things from how someone treats you around people they want to impress. Lauren arrived 20 minutes after me, in a sundress that made women glance and men recalibrate. Emily was there, too, alongside her husband Ryan, a tall guy with gym shoulders and a fake casual grin. I knew him from block parties and quick hellos. He shook my hand and clapped my shoulder like we were longtime buddies. You two good? Hank asked me near the cooler, voice low. We're present, I said. Under the lights, Lauren laughed loud at something Ryan said. When I joined the circle, she didn't slide an inch to make room. I stood behind her chair like a security guard. Dawn, Emily called. You on grill duty, or did Hank finally ban you? I retired from the smoke, I replied. You were never hired, Lauren put in, not looking at me. Dawn treats the grill like it's open heart surgery. Painful to watch. People chuckled. I caught Hank's glance, sympathetic, then away. Hey, I told Lauren steady. If I'm that bad at it, it's good you're eating here. It's a joke, she said, rolling her eyes. Relax. Already there, I said. Later, when plates were cleared, Lauren pulled out her phone and started showing Emily some interior design page. Ryan leaned in a little too comfortably. I stepped back, took my beer, and told Hank, we're heading out. I didn't ask Lauren. I told her within earshot of Emily. We just got here, she protested. We can split, I replied. I'm not staying. She looked at Emily, a quick check for permission or optics, then back at me. So dramatic. Standing still, I corrected and left. Outside the fence, I heard Emily say something about men and their moods, followed by Lauren's laugh, high and a little mean. I slept well. On Monday, Dalton called. Done. Already. I had enough, he said. We should meet. We sat at a booth in a diner near the highway where no one knows you unless you want to be known. Dalton slid a folder to me. Inside, dates, locations, photos from reasonable distances, nothing invasive, everything clear. I don't use colorful words. I use facts. The facts showed Lauren meeting Ryan 3 separate evenings, stepping into places with dim lights and private corners, leaving in a way that told you they had other places to be. There were time stamps, receipts, a pattern of her late-night returns lining up with his nights out with the guys, which I had never been part of. Thank you, I said. You want more? No. This is sufficient. Dalton nodded once, took his coffee, and left. I called a lawyer I trust, Harris, a man who speaks like spreadsheets. I gave him a summary and asked what to do to protect myself without turning the next months into a reality show. File, he said. We do it clean. Don't mention what you know. Do not confront. Do not move money. Do not move out. Keep everything steady and neutral. We'll serve at the right moment. What about talk at home? Polite and minimal, Harris said. Think coworkers who share a desk. Understood. That night, I brought home groceries, cooked, set a plate for Lauren, and didn't sit with her. She ate standing at the counter. This is good again, she said, attempting warmth. I'm consistent, I replied. You're different, she said, more curious than angry. I adjusted, I said. That's what adults do when conditions change. She tilted her head. What conditions? Ours, I replied. Priorities. She stepped closer, reached to touch my arm like we had a running joke. I didn't step away, but I didn't smile. She withdrew her hand. I was thinking, she said, we could take a long weekend somewhere. Beach, good views, reset. I can even help plan. That's generous, I said, rinsing the pan. You don't sound excited. I don't perform on command, Lauren. She leaned on the island. You're punishing me for being busy. I'm organizing my life without asking permission. She pushed back from the counter. You used to try. I used to think trying mattered. Her mouth tightened. You're impossible. I'm clear, I said, and wiped the counter until it shined. For a week we lived like neighbors who share a garage. Good mornings were polite. Her requests for upgrades picked up speed. We need a better espresso setup. The bathroom lighting is terrible. I'm looking at new dining chairs. Ours are depressing. Each time, I repeated the rule. Joint expenses covered, extras are yours. She hated that word extras. She responded by saying, fine, and buying them anyway, then complaining when I didn't comment. Late Thursday, I came home early from the office because the contractor finished a small repair in the hallway and I wanted to inspect before it got dark. I stepped inside quietly and heard Lauren in the living room on speaker with someone. The tone was easy, confident, almost giddy. It'll be soon, she was saying. Honestly, I'm shocked he's still this mellow. I'll be out of this and comfortable by summer. Someone laughed. A group, 3 women by the cadence. One voice I recognized, Emily. You'll get half, another voice said. He's stable. You did the home stuff. You carried a lot. Oh, I'm not worried, Lauren said. He can adjust all he wants. I'm not leaving with a suitcase. I pulled my phone, hit record, and lifted it toward the doorway without stepping in. My hand was steady. I don't do scenes, I do documentation. I caught enough of the words to make any lawyer smile. Then I closed the front door with a regular click, not loud, but loud enough to reset a room. The living room fell silent. Gotta go, Lauren said fast. He's home. She ended the call and sat, face neutral, staring at her phone like it was suddenly interesting. Hey. She greeted me a second later, forcing casual. How was your day? Productive, I said, hanging my keys. Mine was long, she added. I'm wiped. Thinking of turning in early. Do what you need. She searched my face for any hint that I'd heard something. I gave her exactly what she deserved. Nothing. In the garage, I sent the video to Harris with 3 lines. Time, context, and enjoy. He called within minutes. This is art, he said. Do not react. We'll use it to make sure she can't turn this into a grab. Keep playing dumb. Got it. Also, the paperwork is going out today, Harris added. It'll arrive at your address in a day or so. You can hand it to her yourself if you want the satisfaction and a clean service. Your choice. We'll see. The next day at lunch, my phone lit up. Lauren. I was in a meeting, but I stepped into the hallway to answer. Yeah. You're on speaker, she said quickly, bright in a way that wasn't for me. The girls want to hear this. What girls? Her voice bubbled. Don't be dull. I'm at a lawyer's office. We're wrapping paperwork. Thought you should know we're doing this. What's this? I asked, even though I already knew. My voice stayed flat. I'm finalizing our divorce, she chirped. There was laughter in the background, that light laugh women use when someone tells a story about a guy who tried too hard. I almost exploded at the absurdity of it. Instead, I went for precision. Oh, I said, like I just remembered a grocery item. Is that Emily's laugh? The background noise went down one notch. Lauren hesitated. Yeah, and let me guess, I said, letting a small smile touch my voice. She still doesn't know you've been meeting her husband? Silence. Real silence. Paper stopped rustling. The breath in the room changed. A new voice cut in, sharp. Emily, what does that mean? Lauren, what is he talking about? Lauren snapped. He's being dramatic. I laughed once. You enjoy the rest of your meeting. Then I ended the call. I dialed Harris and told him exactly what I'd said. He didn't scold. He chuckled. Not ideal operational security, he allowed. But given what we have, it won't hurt. In fact, it may move things faster. You said the paperwork is on its way? It should be in your mailbox this afternoon. If you want to serve it yourself, tape it to a pizza box for all I care. Just make sure you record the handoff or have her acknowledge it by text. And Dawn, one more thing. You are within your right to ask her to vacate now. Lease and title are in your name. If she resists, loop me in. Understood. I left work an hour early. The mailbox held a thick envelope with my name and Harris's firm on the corner. I parked in the driveway and stood there for a second, letting the quiet settle. Inside, the house smelled like a candle Lauren likes when she's playing it calm. She wasn't home. I didn't wait. I walked to the closet, pulled her suitcases, and started packing with the efficiency of a man uncollecting a mistake. Clothes, shoes, the vanity drawer she kept in the hall bathroom, her hair tools, the little box of keepsakes from friends, all of it into 2 big bags and 1 carry-on. I left her personal files in a folder on top with a sticky note. Yours. I didn't damage a thing. I don't do chaos. Then I changed the deadbolt. I left the handle lock as it was, because people are less dramatic when they feel a knob turn and meet a clean stop. I put the papers Harris sent in a manila envelope and set it on the entry bench with a pen. On the kitchen island, I left her set of keys minus the front door. If you want a scene to read like a policy, you lay out the items. No speeches needed. At 6:30, my phone buzzed. Be home in 10, Lauren texted. I didn't reply. I made tea and waited by the dining table where I had a clear view of the door. The handle turned. The door stopped at the deadbolt. A pause, then a sharp knock. Dawn, she called. Give me a second, I said, walking over. I unlocked, opened, and stepped aside. Lauren stood there with mascara faint under her eyes like she'd been somewhere warm. Then she saw the suitcases. Her face flickered through surprise to anger to something like calculation in under a second. What is this? Your things, I said, and picked up the 2 big bags. I set them neatly on the porch beside her. She didn't move, like her shoes were nailed to the mat. Open the door, she demanded, stepping in like she could claim the space by tone. It's open, I said. Not for staying. You can't just. I can. I tapped the envelope on the bench. Paperwork. Read the first page. She glanced at it, then back at me. You were supposed to. We were just talking about. You were talking, I said. I was recording. Then I was acting. Her eyes went wet. Can we talk inside? Please. No, I said. We're done doing private shows that turn into group chats. You're overreacting, she insisted. We can work it out. That speaker thing was a joke. Emily. Emily knows, I cut in. You might want to call her. Or maybe wait. Let her call you. She swallowed. You're cruel. No, I'm precise. I handed her the envelope. Sign the receipt page. Harris will handle the rest. She put a hand on my arm then, softer than I'd felt in months. Dawn, I'm scared. Can we just sit for 5 minutes? I'll explain. I was confused. You've been distant. I felt alone. I made mistakes. But we can fix it if you stop punishing me. There's no punishment, I said. Only results. She looked at the bags. Where am I supposed to go? You have options. I kept my voice even. You've been out most nights. You'll figure it out. You're unbelievable, she whispered. I gave you my best years. You saved your best for other nights, I answered. The years can stay with you. She grabbed the handle of one suitcase and didn't move. She was waiting for some burst of compassion, a crack in the wall. I didn't give it. She tried again. Dawn, please. I'll change. I'll be better. We'll start fresh. I'll plan the trip. You already planned everything, I said. That was the problem. Her face broke for real then, not the practiced kind of sad used to reset a man. It was shock that her script didn't land. I didn't celebrate. I've never liked that part of endings. I stepped back into the doorway. Take the bags. Don't come back tonight. And if I do, it wasn't a threat, more of a test. You won't get in, I said. If you try, I'll have Harris call you and explain it like a policy manual. I closed the door. She kept knocking, then pleading, then going quiet, then starting again. It went on for a while. Eventually, the knocks went farther apart, then stopped. I waited 5 minutes and opened the blinds just a sliver. She was loading the second bag into a rideshare. She didn't look back before the car rolled away. Inside, I cleaned the counter and took out the trash because houses run better when you act like they matter. I slept in the guest room with the new mattress she'd insisted on. It was comfortable. In the morning, my phone had 6 missed calls and a line of messages, paragraphs that tried every tone from blame to romance. I didn't answer one. The next week moved like an old-fashioned machine, slow, heavy, inevitable. Harris handled the steps. Lauren sent 2 emails asking for discussions about equitable arrangements. Harris replied, firm and kind. The video of her phone call with the half of everything joke did what it needed to do. The folder from Dalton put a narrative into dates. There was no shouting, no slamming, no courtroom speeches. Just stamps and signatures, and a woman who moved her things into a storage unit north of town before heading to her parents' place 3 states away. I saw her once more after the day of the suitcases, by accident, at the market. She was in line holding paper towels and a bag of oranges. She spotted me, went still, then turned to face the shelf like it was suddenly fascinating. I stepped into the next line and paid cash. On the way out, she whispered, Dawn. But I didn't turn because endings deserve to stay ended. If I'd stopped, she would have tried a new angle, and I was done giving angles. Work stabilized. Nate slid me into a bigger client because I didn't look distracted anymore. He nodded at my calendar as if to say, glad you fixed whatever that was. I said nothing. Men like us don't need the details. We recognize the before and after. On a Saturday, Hank wandered over while I was cleaning the truck. He scratched his chin, looked at the changed lock, and didn't ask, but asked anyway. Everything okay? Better, I said. That barbecue, he offered. She was sharp. You noticed. He gave a short breath that was almost a laugh. Everyone did. Good, I said. Witnesses are useful. He shifted his weight. Emily and Ryan stopped coming by. Heard they're taking time apart. Life's a great teacher, I said, and shut the tailgate. That night I sat on the back steps with a beer that tasted like nothing and felt like permission. It wasn't drama. It was quiet. The difference between those two is a life. A month after the paperwork finalized, I moved out of the old master into a renovated space I'd been eyeing on the other side of town. 2 bedrooms, clean lines, a small workshop attached to the garage where I could tune the stuff that keeps a man sane. I bought a used convertible because the deal was good and the roof works when you treat it right. I replaced my phone number and didn't send the new one to anyone who ever told me to relax, while they mocked me. If you know, you know. Somewhere in there I met Erin. We were both waiting on a latte in a place on Main. She called me out for staring at the door like it owed me money. I told her I was counting the traffic lights for an upcoming project. She laughed at that, a Real laugh, the kind that doesn't check the room first. We went for a walk that lasted 2 hours and led to tacos and a conversation that didn't feel like debate prep. She works in logistics, makes decisions for a living, and doesn't audition them. We didn't promise anything. We drew lines and agreed to meet again Wednesday. Lauren? From what I hear through Hank, she's back in her hometown, living with her parents while reassessing. The apartment she wanted near the water never happened. The upgrade she bought on a separate card didn't turn into the life she pitched to those phone voices. I don't cheer about that. I also don't apologize for my comfort. She made choices. So did I? The last time she reached out was a plain envelope with no return address. Inside was a handwritten note. "I'm sorry," it read. "I didn't think you'd actually let me go." That was the whole letter. No requests. No plan. Just a line that landed like a confession of someone who thought the rules didn't apply to her. I put it in a drawer for a day, then shredded it because my house is not a museum. People ask me what I'd say to someone stuck where I was. I tell them this: don't fight to be liked by someone who treats you like furniture. Set a rule, enforce it politely, and act like your time has a value. You don't have to break dishes or write plays. You just have to close the door when the time comes and know that silence is sometimes the only tone that works. The point where everything turned wasn't the folder in the diner or even the recording on my phone. It was the moment I stopped auditioning for the role of good husband in a production Lauren had no interest in directing with me. That's when I walked out without leaving the house. By the time the suitcases hit the porch, I'd left months earlier. When I handed her the envelope, she looked at me like I'd taken something from her. She was right. I took back my time, my name on the mailbox, my expectation of respect at my own table. I didn't throw a parade. I didn't post a speech. I said one line when she asked where she should go: "You'll figure it out." That was the last thing I owed her. Now I wake up before sunrise, start the truck, and drive to the shop with the radio low. I work, I lift, I cook decent dinners, I meet Aaron when our calendars align, and I go to bed in a house that doesn't rehearse arguments. When neighbors wave, I wave back. When Lauren comes to mind, I let the thought pass like traffic. My life didn't need fireworks. It needed a lock that turns, a door that closes, and a man who knows he's the one who sets the terms for how he's treated. People think the end of a marriage is a volcano. Usually it's a thermostat. You set it where it should be and stop apologizing for not freezing. I didn't win. I didn't lose. I kept my dignity and my house keys. She kept her stories and her plans that ran out of road. That's not revenge. That's math. And the last thing she heard from me, before the door closed on her suitcase wheels and whatever speech she was building, was simple and final, exactly the way I meant it. This house runs on respect. You're out of credit.